The New York Mets have finally hired a new manager, and it is Buck Showalter. In this video, I'm going to talk about the Buck Showalter hiring, my thoughts on it, and what it means for the Mets going forward. This is a 3-year deal, which could be all that we see of Buck Showalter since he is getting up there in age. If you enjoyed this video talking about a Mets hiring, make sure to leave a like button, comment down below. What are your thoughts on the Buck Showalter hiring? I know this is someone that most Mets fans wanted just because he's not a rookie manager. And if you're new here, you want to make the holiday season, you want to be in the season of giving, you always could give a subscribe. So Buck Showalter, from the beginning when he was a candidate, he was not someone I was crazy about. I want someone that if has been managing for a long time, you would hope that they would win a World Series. It just always seemed like a coincidence that when Buck Showalter left the team, that's when they won. You look at the Yankees, you look at the Arizona Diamondbacks, and his most recent managing tenure with the Baltimore Orioles, his huge mistake of not bringing in Zach Britton in the 9th inning of a guy who was having a historic season and Britton did not use him, that was a big-time mistake. And Met fans are like, oh, we just can't take no rookie manager. We just can't take no rookie manager because of what happened with Rojas and what happened with Mickey Callaway. But just because a guy has experience doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be a great manager. Now, what I will say is that Buck Showalter is an obvious improvement over Luis Rojas and Mickey Callaway. There's no question about that. So that's something I'm definitely very excited about. I think that Buck Showalter is probably what the Mets need at the current point in time because of what happened last year with the whole different controversies, whether it was the fight between McNeil and Lindor, whether it was thumbs down, and just everything else that happened at the year. When you have multiple players come out at the end of the season saying that there was a lack of leadership, and then Adam Jones come into defense of Buck Showalter say that stuff like that wouldn't happen if Buck Showalter was the manager, I think that's what the Mets need. The incredible guy that's going to hold them accountable and just not have any nonsense going on in the dugout and just hopefully keep the chemistry going pretty well. Now, the Mets still need to make a lot of other coaching decisions because the only coach that stayed was Jeremy Hefner, so Buck Showalter is going to have to hire a new bench coach. Carlos Beltran would be the best fit in my opinion just because that would give Beltran some coaching experience that he could learn under Buck Showalter and also have a guy who's a little younger that can relate to the players and talk to them on a day-to-day basis. Also, the fact that Beltran is bilingual, which Buck Showalter is not, the Mets do have quite an amount of Hispanic players on their team. But there are plenty of other candidates, and the way the Mets could approach it, not saying they should, but one of the avenues they could go is they could have the bench coach become the next manager. Since this Buck Showalter deal is only for 3 years, you know Buck Showalter is not going to be here for 10 years, even if he does fantastic. He only has a few years left in him anyway. You could just have your answer to your next manager within your team, because if you want to have this managerial search in 3 years again, and if there aren't any really quality candidates out there, then you're kind of wasting your time. What Buck Showalter does done, I will give him credit for, is that those teams that did win the World Series, when Buck Showalter took over, they weren't a good team, and then he made them into a really good team. So what I keep saying is that if that trend continues, where obviously the Mets had a really disappointing year this year, they should have been better. You get Buck Showalter, you improve, and then hopefully, once he leaves, then the next manager that comes in, you could win a World Series, because that's what it's all about. Steve Cohen wants to win a World Series in 3 to 5 years. I would like to see the Mets win a World Series sometime in this lifetime. That would be ideal, because I still haven't seen it. I saw him go to a World Series, haven't seen him win it yet. As far as how Buck Showalter is going to handle analytics and things like that, I'm not really too concerned about it. I think that the Mets will definitely have a bit of an analytical input onto what's going on in the organization because we know that's something Steve Cohen likes. He added a lot of analytic guys last year, and they've done more this year as well. But I think that Buck Showalter is probably going to have more of a logical thinking and not try to overdo it or try to be cute like the way Mickey Callaway and Luis Rojas was. Luis Rojas thought he was creative when he didn't intentionally walk a batter. When he brought in Albert Almora against a left-handed pitcher, even if the guy who was left-handed batter before Almora was a much better hitter. But there's more work that could be done for this Mets team, and I think what they really need to focus on now that they have the manager out of the way, is making minor league signings. We've seen some minor league signings happen around the league this week, whether it was Ender Inciarte with the Yankees or Michael Franco with the Nationals. You're not going to get big-time players, but you do need to get some players because the harsh reality of it, if we're being frank about it, you look at what's going on right now in the NFL, NBA, and NHL, all the COVID problems that they're having, all the players that are out in these sports, you're going to need a lot of depth. If the Mets have any kind of guys getting sick throughout the course of the season, do we really feel that the Mets have competent players that could, back them up and still step up and be the guy that could take over and not have your team really just fall off the map? I think that in a season like this year, with the way things are going right now, it could be who is going to be the healthiest. whoever has the healthiest team might be the team that wins the division. The other thing the Mets have to do is obviously get a starting pitcher. That's going to be a video that will be probably after Christmas, and we could look at other signs that the Mets are going to make for the minor leagues, because you could only do minor league contracts right now with this whole lockout going on. Also, we launched a second channel, the Mets Weekly channel. If you have not subscribed to it, if you haven't checked it out yet, I encourage you to do so. I will leave it in the description. There's going to be some good stuff coming there. It won't be just the Mets Weekly show, but we do have plans for doing other things on that channel, so definitely be sure to stay tuned to that. If there are any other videos you would like to see during this lockout, because we have time now, we could talk about things that don't necessarily relate to what's going on right now, because there's nothing going on. These guys just can't get along and can't work all the problems out to get baseball up and running again. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully Buck Showalter does really well and the Mets could get back in the playoffs. That would be amazing to see. But until the next one, be safe, be smart, be healthy. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, all the holidays, and see you in the next one. Let's go Mets.